is India's 8.2% growth rate sustainable? And this growth rate is actually unmatchable. No other country in the world is growing with such a rapid pace, and that is why, you know, constantly India has showcased this growth rate time and again, and this has raised eyebrows for organizations like IMF. And IMF gave India a grade C rating for quality of its GDP data. It was quality of its GDP data and national accounts. It is basically the methodology by which we are calculating our GDP and subsequently the growth rate. That methodology has been given grade C. And since this was given grade C, this raised a big question, that is India truly growing strongly, or are there deeper structural problems? Now, in this topic, we are decoding what are, I would say, the factors which are leading to the growth of the country as per the government. First of all, GDP growth 8.2%. It shows strong economic momentum, not just a post-COVID bounce, because many countries in the post-COVID era, they bounced back. They showed high economic growth rates because the base, because the economic growth rate 8.2% is what? From the previous year, this much percent our economy has grown. And in COVID, the base reduced because GDP fell drastically of all the countries in the world. And from there, so definitely everyone will grow. The base has lowered down, the base has shrunk. The post-COVID boom was witnessed everywhere because of smaller base. But in India, it was 9% at that time. But even after that, the constant, I would say, display of results by India in terms of economic growth has continued. The total output in one quarter is 48.63 lakh crore rupees, which is very high. Manufacturing is up by 9.1%. Factories running closer to full capacity now. It is a good sign for industrial demand. Service sector, it is 9.2%. It contributes the highest in the GDP. 60% of our GDP comes from the service sector. Finance sector growing at 10.2%. More loans, more transactions are happening. Then gross value addition growth also strong. GVA rose from 82.88 lakh crore, 89.41 lakh crore rupees. From 82.88 to 89.41 lakh crore rupees. So this is basically, GVA is, gross value addition is different from GDP. So you can understand it in this way कि GDP is the value of any goods or service being produced in your country. Now, once that good gets produced in your country, it is subject to various taxes. Like when that good is manufactured in a factory, while coming out of the factory, excise duty will be levied on that, or GST will be levied on that, right? So that will increase the cost of that product. That increased cost is GVA. If government is giving any subsidy for that, that cost will be reduced from that, because that is not a value addition. This is something which is a subsidy. So this is how value GVA is calculated. The GVA was 89.41 lakh and GDP was 48.63 lakh crore for this quarter. This means real production is increased, not just prices. Low inflation, nominal GDP increased only slightly more than real GDP. Real GDP is inflation adjusted, and nominal GDP is non-inflation adjusted. Let's suppose I am manufacturing this pen. 5 years before, the manufacturing cost of this pen was 5 rupees. Okay. I am talking about 2020. The manufacturing cost was 5 rupees. This was the contribution to GDP, 5 rupees back then. है ना? Now, 2025, this inflation has been there and all. The cost is 10 rupees. And after adjusting inflation and all, the cost becomes 10 rupees. more contribution in the GDP grows. भाई अब 10 रुपए contribute हो रहे GDP में. So pen is the same, components are the same, but due to inflation the cost has gone up, means GDP has risen. So real GDP is when I am deducting that inflated cost, or when I am taking into consideration that effective cost. ठीक है, तो nominal GDP has increased only slightly more than real GDP. Means difference between real GDP and nominal GDP is less, which simply means that inflation is under control. So that is what it means. If difference between real GDP and nominal GDP is less, it means that inflation is under control. Now, next is consumption rising. So, what is this consumption? So, PFCE basically stands for Private Final Consumption Expenditure. How much consumption expenditure we are doing? It is up by 7.9%. Consumption होगा तभी तो production होगा. Households are spending more, which simply means. And since households are spending more, there will be more demand for the products. More demand for the products will simply mean more productivity. More productivity means more GDP. As simple as that. Agriculture growth 3.5%, better due to full reservoirs plus improved horticulture. This was due to good monsoon season. Banking sector is healthy. Banks have clean balance sheets. Credit and loans are growing strongly. And very lately, the RBI has lowered the repo rate as well. Government finances are stable. GST plus direct taxes remain strong. Spending quality is better. More capital spending is being done by the people rather than consumption spending, because capital spending will give returns in the future. External sector is stable. Low current account deficit is there. Strong services exports are happening. Good forex reserves touching $700 billion. Overall data shows strong momentum. India is growing even as many other countries have slowed down. And this momentum definitely will take us to Viksit Bharat, provided the inequality levels do not rise in the country. Growth should be distributed. But IMF's grade C categorization controversy. IMF is saying that you are growing at such fast pace because your methodology, data quality and institutional systems behind GDP calculation, they need improvement. They are outdated. Like you're using the base year as 2011-12. We still use the wholesale price index, WPI, for some calculations. Single deflation is used too much. It may create errors. Mismatch between production data and expenditure data. No seasonally adjusted GDP you are taking into account, and state level data weak or missing after 2019. So these things have led to, I would say, putting India in the grade C category by IMF. In short, we need improvements in our GDP calculation methodologies. This is what. Now, hidden weaknesses in the economy. There are weaknesses, no doubt about this fact. And there are weaknesses even in the world's biggest economy, like America. Second largest, China. There are weaknesses over there as well. And weaknesses will remain. So in our economy, mining is almost flat. 0.04% growth rate was witnessed, and this was due to long monsoon disturbed mining work. Electricity or utilities are weak. 4.4%. Milder winter reduced power demand. But if winter intensifies, then the power demand may further increase. Uneven recovery. Agriculture, 14% of gross value added, but employs 45% of workforce. India's workforce is stuck in low productivity sectors. Structural issues, too many workers in agriculture and informal jobs are there. Goods exports are still weak. Rupee stable but under pressure from high global dollar. Dollar is rising and productivity is still low in many sectors. So these need to be tackled. RBI's concerns, the long-term risks, global trade protectionism is rising. Everyone is looking inwards. Tariffs are rising. Like for example, India पे tariffs America ने लगा दी. So this kind of protectionism is rising. Atmanirbharta is rising, and this is definitely giving shape to the global geopolitics as well nowadays. It makes exporting goods harder for India. Geopolitical tensions, it affects global demand and therefore it affects India's exports. Like our trade with Israel reduced drastically after that region went under crisis. Institutions still need strengthening, better data systems, better coordination between states and center, better labor productivity policies should be there. So all these are actually the concerns of RBI. Now, what does all this mean? This simply means that India is growing fast, no doubt. 8.2% RI. If we do some improvements, there can be a possibility that this reduces 8.2%. But it can increase also, it can remain the same also. But yes, we need to do improvements in our methodology as per IMF. But long-term stability needs strong foundations. IMF is not doubting the growth rate. It is only questioning the quality of systems behind measuring or calculating the growth rates. Growth is not evenly spread. Services are booming, manufacturing is improving, mining plus utilities are weak. Agricultural growth still remains small but employs millions. And this is where the problem is that agriculture is not contributing much to the GDP, and 45% of our workforce is over here in a less productive sector. So that is raising concerns. Must India do? India must fix data quality, labor productivity, institutional capacity, and export competitiveness. We should improve our exports. We should make the exports of better quality. We should also look at reducing the prices of the export items, making it more competitive. So, is 8.2 growth sustainable? Yes, definitely it is. In short term, demand is strong, manufacturing is up, services are booming, inflation is under control, and banks are in a healthy position. So, definitely this growth rate will continue further, but not guaranteed in long term. Why? Because structural issues are still there. Weak exports, and they can further reduce due to more and more inward looking policies of the respective governments worldwide. Low productivity in sectors like mining, agriculture, data system concerns, calculation and all, and sectoral imbalance is there. Majority of the workforce is in a less productive, I would say, sector. So in short, India is running fast, but its road needs repairs. Road, not technically or literally that road, means the path on which we are moving, that needs certain repairs, like structural reforms and all, if we want to keep moving like this for a longer period.